Okay, this is going to be a very short video. This is just a quick rundown of the vocal mics that I have available in my system, both wired and wireless. We'll concentrate on the wired mics first, then we'll move on to the cordless mic, then we'll move on to the headset mic. The first of the mics is the Behringer XM1800S supercardioid general use vocal mic. It does have an on-off switch, very much like in style of the Shure SM58, which we all know is the industry standard. Standard XLR input, very robust, very useful. The other mics I have are a couple of PV mics. The first one, this is the very first mic I ever bought, and it's a PV1, looking a bit sorry for itself now, but still works and still produces an okay sound. Again, it's got an on-off switch and very much in the style of the SM57, sorry, the SM58, although we know the SM58 doesn't have an on-off switch. And this particular one also comes with its own dedicated mic clip, as you can see in the back there. And the other PV mic I have, if I can get it open, is again in the style of an SM58, and again got a switch, but this is the PVI100, again XLR input, very standard supercardioid vocal mic. So that's the corded mics that I have for vocals. Now we move on to the cordless vocal mic. This is a Citronic branded item. This uses UHF frequencies rather than VHF. The benefit of UHF over VHF is you don't suffer interference from local outside frequencies such as taxi firms, etc, etc. It's also much better at transmitting the frequencies across the stage, and this particular one is 16 selectable channels from the bass unit and the mic itself using these buttons just here. When you switch it on, you've got your channel selector number on the LCD display, it tells you what channel you're on, and then you select that channel on the bass. The bass itself, on-off switch, you have a volume button and you have your channel selector. On the back you have a balanced XLR output or an unbalanced jack output. I would always use the balanced XLR output to feed into your mixer, because you'll get better control over the signal. This receiver has two antenna, so it is what we these are the antenna, just screw onto here. These can just sit on top of your amp rack on the stage to receive the signal from the mic as the vocalist is running around the stage. Because it has two antenna, it's what they call a true diversity. The antenna or the receiver will pull in the signal from the strongest antenna point. So at some point, if it's central to where the receiver is, it may be picking up on both. As the artist moves from side to side of the stage, the unit will decide which antenna is pulling in the strongest signal, and it will pull in the signal from the microphone on that antenna. The mic itself is battery powered from a standard 9-volt battery, and we have a rubberized mic clip to go onto the mic stand should the vocalist require a mic stand. And that is the wireless mic. Okay, the last of the vocal mics is my wireless headset mic. You may see orators or speakers at conferences using such an item instead of a lavalier lapel mic. They may have a headset mic just coming around the face. This particular one is Gemini branded. Again, like the Citronic, the receiver is true diversity, two antenna, and like the Citronic one, it is UHF. Again, it has a volume button or a volume dial. This one, rather than just a 16 channel selector, it has a group selector and a channel selector. So there are 8 groups to choose from, and within each group there are 8 channels to choose from, adjustable by these dials on the front here of the receiver, and also on the side dials on the belt pack, which the headset plugs into via a micro XLR. Okay, the belt pack uses AAA batteries. You can have rechargeable ones, and on the front of the receiver is a small jack power point. System comes with a little charging cable which you can plug into here, plug into the bottom of your receiver or your belt pack, and it will charge the batteries in the belt pack while you're not using it. Very useful, very good idea. I don't know why more manufacturers don't use the same idea. Again, on the back we have XLR and unbalanced jack outputs. We also have a squelch dial, so you can squelch out how far out the receiver will receive a signal from the belt pack from. If you're working in a very tight environment, you may want to squelch it right down to avoid picking up unwanted signals from elsewhere in the building. So that is my wireless headset mic, and that is the last of my vocal mics. In another video, the video following this, we will go into my instrument and drum mics and DI boxes. This time we're going to be talking about instrument mics and DI boxes. First of all, we'll look at my drum mic set, which consists of 5 microphones. We have a kick bass microphone, we have 2 tom mics, we have a snare mic. This is actually marked as dedicated for the snare, and we have a condenser mic. You may remember we discussed these briefly when I was doing the overview of the mixing desk and the rack effects rack. So yeah, that's the mic. That's the condenser mic. So kick bass mic, nice big chunky mic. They all come pre-fitted with mic stand adapters, so you can put them all on your mic stands. I do for the toms and for the snare. In the other case that I'll show you that's got the other mics in the DI boxes, I have what they call rim clips to allow you to connect or attach these directly to the rim of the toms or the snare. So yeah, these are denoted as a tom because it's a CMWT, and the snare is marked as a CMWS. Okay, comes with a little wind pop shield for the condenser mic as well. This particular kit also came with a little mic clip for the condenser mic, which was quite handy. Saved having to try and attach a mic clip to the casing of the condenser mic, because this particular condenser mic, unlike others, the cheaper ones, this particular one unscrews, and as well as requiring the 48 volt phantom power from the desk, it also has to have a AA battery inside it. So without the AA battery, this condenser mic will not work. So that is my Carlsberg drum mic set, and we'll now move on to all the additional microphones I have for instruments. And here we are. As you can see, there's quite a selection of items in here, including this larger box which has several microphones inside it. We'll go into those in a minute. As I mentioned before, I have several rim clips for drum mics, so we can open this up and it allows the rim of the drum to be inserted in here. Clamp that down, tighten that up, the drum mic attaches to here. You've got movement on here to get the desired angle, and then you tighten that up. These clips also have on the back, I don't know if you can see it on the video, a cable clip. So once you've got your XLR cable plugged into the back of the mic, you can bring it around here, clip it into here, and this reduces strain on the cable as it plugs into the mic and stops the mic being pulled out of position. I have several of those, at least one for every mic that I've got that will go on a drum rim. Additional drum mics, I have an additional kick bass mic. This is a JTS TX2. Again, nice big chunky mic. I will generally only use this if I've got a drummer using 2 kick basses and using independent pedals on both. Most drummers that have a double kick bass setup generally have a double pedal. The second kick bass drum is there primarily for show, or also as a backup if they put a beater through the skin on their main kick bass. They will quickly swap over to the other kick bass and then use that. But some drummers, I have done it in the past, like to use a separate kick pedal on each kick bass drum, so that's why I'll have a second kick bass mic. I also have an additional tom / snare mic. I'll generally use this if the drummer's got a larger kit, as opposed to just maybe a rack tom, a floor tom and a snare. If they've got a couple of rack toms and maybe a third rack tom and a floor tom, I'll use one of the Carlsberg mics centered across the two top racks, use the other Carlsberg tom mic on a third rack tom, and then I'll use this one on the floor tom, just to give me the expansion I need for as many drums as the drummer might have. Okay, before we go on to the DI boxes, we'll just go into the mics that are in this case. So as you can see, several mics in here. I have 2 of these. These are not Shure SM57s, although they do look like them. They have the same similar frequency response, not exactly the same, because obviously the Shure cartridge in the end of their mic is patented to them. Again, industry standard XLR input, and these I use primarily for miking up guitar cabs and such like. I have 2 of those. I have another condenser mic. This is actually a sealed unit, so no additional battery inside this one. This just requires the phantom power from the desk to run this one. This one I like to use on hi-hats because it's nice and powerful and it's small enough to get into the tight space around a hi-hat. I then have a matched pair of small little pencil condenser mics. Again, XLR inputs, and because these are a matched pair, I like to use these as overheads if it's a larger drum kit, and I will generally put them on the mic stands over the kit in such a fashion so that they pick up all the cymbals around the kit from one side all the way around to the other side in an even manner. I generally would leave these centered on the desk. I wouldn't pan these because panning cymbals can be a bit messy from the front of house sound. So that's the additional mics that are in this case. Finally, we have DI boxes or direct injection boxes. I have a mono one and I have a stereo one. The mono one I will tend to use on a bass guitar if the bass player doesn't have a DI out on his bass amp itself. I will use a DI box for the bass. I then have a stereo one, which I tend to use for keyboards. Most keyboards have either a stereo out, or if the keyboard player has 2 keyboards, I'll use a mono out for each one and run each keyboard through a mono. They all have high-ins, they all have a ground lift, and they all have XLR outs. Okay, this one actually has stereo mono select, so if I'm doing a mono feed, switch to there. If I'm actually running 2 keyboards, I'll switch it to there for stereo. So the last thing in here, not many people carry these, I've got 2 of them, they're just clipped together, is what's called a phase inverter. Now if I'm running a second mic on, say, a snare drum, so I've got one over the top and I possibly have one coming from underneath to really accentuate the snare. If you don't invert the phase on the second mic, you will get cancellation of sound and you will practically lose your snare drum altogether because the signals from the 2 snares mics are cancelling each other out. So you phase invert the second mic. You must invert that phase on the second mic. I bought 2 of these, so I've always got a backup in case one fails. But that is the only place I would ever use it, is on a second mic on a snare drum. So that covers all the microphones and DI boxes I have for instruments and vocals. Love to hear from my subscribers what they would like to see on the next video. This will be the last one I'll upload until I get some feedback from my viewers. Thank you very much.